Step by step, the clock is ticking, but there's no time for me. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to a brand new episode, FPL Gameweek 2 podcast, episode number 38. We've also managed to pass 350 subscribers, and now our new goal will be 400 subscribers. So, can we do it before maybe Gameweek 5 even? I don't know. We'll have to see. But today, I'm joined with the OGs of the podcast. Rushant, my co-host, and Abin, who's making an appearance for the first time this season after a busy work schedule. So welcome. How are you guys doing?
Good. I know, annoying first game week, but that's how it always begins, right? It can only go up from here. So,
Rush?
Yeah, good. Just as a United supporter, not so much, not very happy, but FPL wise, not too bad. Yeah, looking forward to game week 2 and the season in front.
Fair enough. All right. Let me just get the chat on the side as well, just to keep in fact if anyone comes in. All right. So, game week 2, we've got Haaland on the screen. Oh, apparently in Norway you pronounce it as Holland, according to him as well. So maybe I'll try and approach
his
that.
name?
Holland. So H-A-U.
Oh,
Yeah.
what about his name?
So he says you pronounce it in Norway as Holland.
That's his surname. What is his name?
Erling Braut Holland. Yeah. But anyways, you can call him Haaland apparently not in Norway, but yeah. So let's see. We'll see how it goes. We'll talk about him as well. And welcome to Abdul Rahman as well in the chat. Let's get started. Now, if you are looking for where we use our stats, we basically get it from Fantasy Football Scout, the members area. If you want to sign up to Fantasy Football Scout, link is in the description. You can also use that link that's shown right there on the corner as well. I think they're still doing an offer going on right now in terms of membership deduction, but I'm not really sure about that. But yeah, link in the description if you want to use it. It helps the channel. Now, let's get started. You might see the ranks on our screen right now, which will now continue moving forward. So just before we get into like I think ranks in general, Game Week 1 doesn't mean too much, and I found a really good tweet from Ragaboli Live FPL where he's kind of gone and looked at the Game Week 1 final averages. So overall score was about 56. That's not what you care about. The early managers, that score is basically the first 10k people to sign up. So you're not too worried about that as well. But what you kind of need to do is the elite average score. So the elite average score was 67.04 for Game Week 1. Now that elite average score is basically ranked of the top 1,000 managers, I think, that he's done based on rank history from the last couple seasons. So, similar to, I think, how Fantasy Football Scout does its own Hall of Fame. Similar method. So that's the kind of score you want to see, and whether you want to see whether you're higher or lower, and maybe depending on how low you are. If you're close to that, then you've done pretty well. Don't worry about the rank difference. The rank right now, overall rank in general. Because everyone is very tight, like everyone's close together, and there would have been a lot of managers who played chips in Game Week 1, which is usually the trend for people who want to try and get that top prizes in Game Week 1 itself and also feature on the leaderboard. Anything to say?
Geez, based on that, I'm average. I'm amateur. I'm not elite or early.
But you're very close to elite, so you should be fine. Don't worry. And also, as you can see, the scores needed for certain ranks are also added. It's not too much of a gap between all the ranks as well. So Game Week 2, we could probably see more fluctuations. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I thought I'll just mention that.
I think it's very early days. I mean, yeah, it's good. I think it'll be good to see this across, future weeks. I believe that this is actually something people need. And as you said, the FPL average points that we kind of look at that and we're like, oh, we're better than the average.
Yeah, which is not really true.
The baseline, because that includes a lot of recreational players who
Exactly.
got Declan Rice's in their team. So we should. I think the elite average is probably what we should be really focusing on, and there'll be a very good basis for those taking FPL seriously, and most probably just watching the stream.
Yep, exactly. Agreed. Okay, having said that, let's move on to the actual bit of information. Now, season ticker. This is from Game Week 2 to 7. So the next 6 game weeks, Brentford are on top, same as Brighton as well, followed by Arsenal, Leeds, Chelsea, City, Liverpool. The same expected, like most of the top 6 are still there. Spurs has slightly climbed up. United slightly down, and I think in my estimation they might have gone even more lower. Bournemouth and Crystal Palace still tough fixtures. Same with Newcastle. The next couple game weeks are tough, but after game week 5, they have some pretty good fixtures as well. Fulham also have decent fixtures in between. If you can rotate Andreas Pereira with Newcastle players, a possibility. But yeah, thoughts on any teams that are standing out? Or do you want to go like when we...
I mean, it's still Arsenal. I mean, for me, I think this goes back to the game week 1. I think most people have triple up on them. It's hard to choose anyone from Brentford or Brighton at this stage. I think unless, I don't know, Ryan, if you have your favorites in your bench.
Mbeumo will never make an appearance on my team again.
Don't say that. You never know. And,
maybe 20.
Yeah, Chelsea, they've got good fixtures, but it's hard to... I think I need a few more game weeks just to see how they're going to track along. Obviously, they're not themselves, and now I see Timo Werner has also moved on as well. They'll have defense issues, and they just don't seem as a well-oiled machine as they used to be. But obviously, a standout picks, there's City and Arsenal in the top 6 for me there.
Fair enough.
Why is Leicester a hard game for United?
Every game is a hard game for United.
It's harder than Arsenal.
I'm not a big fan of this ticker. I think it's really good. The good thing is, if you look at the top 7, you got 4 top teams in the top 7, essentially, where our teams are comprised of players from those 4 teams. With City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I think it's good. I think the City and Liverpool ones, especially, just look too low on the list for me. For some reason, I don't know why. You look in the teams.
That's true. I think the way the ticker is made is based off last season's finishes, and I generally should, like, whenever I look at a ticker, you should put a caveat in the fact that teams have changed. Last season's results are not necessarily the same. Like Newcastle itself, I think Newcastle will be a tough fixture for quite a few teams this season. So maybe you should consider those kind of situations as well. So don't take the ticker as like basically the truth.
Correct. I mean, if you look at Liverpool one, I mean, the form United's in, that's not a hard fixture. I actually think that's, Crystal
Palace. A green fixture for Liverpool at this point.
100%. So if you look at that, Liverpool should really be on top. If you just reverse out United's one, I think the City would be up there. Yeah. Apart from the Spurs game, I think the rest, and the Newcastle game as well, which I guess is a bit accurate. But yeah, in saying that, a lot of our players will be from those teams. But interesting to watch Brentford and Brighton, both of whom got a win. One. Interesting to see how Brentford goes about. As I've been mentioned, there's no real obvious choice apart from Tony potentially. Again, there's a lot of options in striker right now that you don't need to necessarily move on to someone like Tony at this point. And speaking of Brighton as well, I know that you can't really base it off the one game against United because they played really poorly. They've never sort of appealed FPL wise for an attack, but season. Yeah. maybe this is the season we might see some. Obviously, we've got Sanchez, but
Yep.
we might, we'll see some emerging stars coming through with some of the new signings.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, Welbeck had a solid first game as well. So, but I mean, I think the strikers' positions are well, filled up already. So, unless you're looking for a budget option, maybe.
Fair enough. I'm just plugging my mouse before the battery goes away. So, all right. So that's the season ticker. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to approach this. I think the usual easy way to approach this is by talking about each of the fixtures. And I've got a couple slides for Liverpool versus Crystal Palace and City versus Bournemouth as well. So when we reach those fixtures, I'll get into that as well. But should we start Aston Villa versus Everton? Thoughts on what did you guys think about Aston Villa? Leon Bailey not performing. Villa in general, I didn't expect them to lose against Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a shock, to be honest. I think everyone, well, a lot of maybe elite managers would have a Bailey in their team just from his preseason that he had, and all the talk of Bournemouth and their lack of defense. I mean, the coach was pretty loud on that. So for them to not get a result against Bournemouth was quite disappointing. So I guess they're in a bit of disarray. But against Everton, again, you just don't know which Everton is going to come up. Yeah, they've made a few good signings. I saw Connor Cody signed, locked in now as well. So they've made a couple of shrewd defense.
But they lost Godfrey.
They've lost Godfrey. I'm not sure if Calvin Lewin is still injured. Obviously they're not Carlson, so I think they're still going to struggle in the attacking half.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I mean, very surprised again with Aston Villa. Sorry, with their preseason form, and with the team kind of mending together, I expected bigger things from Aston Villa. Apart from the Bailey, which was kind of looking good in preseason form, which not too upset really, because for $5 million price tag, you're not really expecting him to score.
Fair enough.
But regardless, I think Aston Villa was very disappointing game week 1. Kind of shows that we kind of underestimated Bournemouth a lot. We went game 1 saying that Bournemouth pretty much have no centre backs. It's the team to target. Let's rotate the captaincy around.
I'd still target them, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this week game will be different because they're playing City. True. But even Everton as well. I mean, escaped relegation really last season. Just kind of scraping through. Lost some key players in Richarlison. Kind of a team that I see is rebuilding. Not that any players are kind of attracting immediate FPL attention, even though they've got some decent mid-range options in midfield and defensively got some wing backs. But this game is FPL wise one to stay away from. Really, just watch the game for the sake of watching it. But I wouldn't really have any star players. If you have Bailey, I would start him. If he's in one of your, I wouldn't just drop him immediately. Give him a couple more games because they've got decent fixtures. But yeah, apart from that, nothing much to talk about really.
Yeah, I would also probably start Leon Bailey because Everton's injuries are still there, and they still don't have much of a striking presence as well. So even if you have like a Lucadini or a Cash, I don't mind starting them as well in defense because I think they might keep a clean sheet, and Aston Villa at home. Interesting stat I heard. Steven Gerrard has the same win percentage as Gary Neville at Valencia.
Is that right?
Yes, apparently. Steven Gerrard at Aston Villa. Same win percentage. I think Gary Neville has a bit more points because he had a couple more draws. But yeah, that was an interesting stat I heard that I thought I'll share. Moving on. Arsenal versus Leicester. Now, Arsenal's somewhat template picks kind of came back, except for Gabriel Jesus. Everyone else kind of like returned as we kind of hoped. Maybe Zinchenko kind of overperformed compared to what we would have hoped. Who do you want to start on? Do you want like Gabriel Jesus? Are you guys keeping Gabriel Jesus, getting rid of him?
Oh, I think it's too early to get rid of him. I think, but it's like it always happens like this. They have him and Kane. Well, from my perspective, had great preseasons and both blanked in game week 1. It had to happen for me, and I got punished. But I think it's way too early to count him off. He is the focal point of that team, and won't be getting rid of him. Zinchenko, good to see his performance, but I just don't know what how the manager's going to be treating him and Tierney and rotation issues. So not sure I'll go there just yet, but I've got to cover me for the defenses. I've got Ramsdale goal, so hopefully he gives us. He gets heaps of bonus points as well, so in saves. So pretty comfortable with him and Martinelli producing the goods.
Rush.
Yeah, I think Arsenal definitely paid the favor for the template team and gave the points apart from Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm a bit hesitant dropping Jesus until I see him regressing a lot.
Yeah.
I want to see people selling him. There's no rush to immediately swap him over for Saka, for example, just because Saka got an assist or he's on pens. If you have Jesus and Martinelli, which was what majority of people have, stick with it for a couple more weeks. And then if you consistently see someone like Jesus not performing at that slot for 8 million, then you can probably start thinking about it. But there's no rush right now. Defense was good. I had Ramsdale in some of my drafts, and unfortunately I dropped him, which didn't work out well for me. But Arsenal defense definitely has improved, and the new formation with Saliba back, and it seems to be working, which is good. I think Arsenal this season is definitely one where you're going to see a lot of FPL players at different points in the season. Hoping for a better season for them this season compared to what they started last year.
Go ahead.
Leicester is another team where, they look good.
Until Brendan Rodgers made some changes and it went all upwards.
Leicester's always been good, and they don't have any major injury concerns in some of the prime players, which is a good sign. You always tend to find Vardy or Maddison, someone injured at some point, where you don't get to have their full team together. They're looking like a team to watch out for, I would say. They've always had decent FPL assets. Barnes and Maddison are still priced relatively cheaper to their counterparts in those similar roles in the top teams. So at some point you could potentially start bringing them in as differentials if needed.
I think their next couple fixtures are slightly hard, and especially for those who went Ward and Iverson as a combo. I'm a bit worried with regards to those, because Ward 4 million goalkeeper pretty good, but along pairing him with another Leicester goalkeeper and not being able to rotate, I think you're going to lose points. So you might want to kind of keep that in mind. Although Leicester, they did look good for a clean sheet until Shrewsbury Hall was taken off, and then they just lost people in midfield, and Brentford capitalized on it. But we'll see. Maybe they might do well. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet against Arsenal. But in terms of Arsenal, everyone's performing pretty well. Saliba as well. I don't think I'll get rid of Gabriel Jesus as well. Yeah. It's probably too early as well. We don't have enough sample size. We saw him preseason. He did well. So we bought him off that preseason hype. So still, there are pretty good games to keep him.
And just because he's got 70+% ownership still, right? And he's still that you'll get hurt. Yeah. Otherwise, you kind of want to be safe.
Yeah.
Start before you.
There were definitely some moments in the game where Jesus looked good. He finished. There were definitely glimpses where he looked like he was going to do something, and that's what we want. We want people to sort of, especially attackers, to have that and chances coming their way, and they might not necessarily finish everything, but he's the front man, and
Because any other day he could have come away with 2 assists, because he had that one where Martinelli scuffed his shot, and also the pass that he did to Odegaard, and Odegaard didn't take the shot. Could have been 2 assists, and you could be here okay, this guy's returned game week 1 itself.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Fair enough. Brighton versus Newcastle. Brighton played well against United, kind of expected. I think Sanchez is probably a really good option still in goal. Kind of showed me okay, these guys, even with the players they lost, they can hold their fort. So I'm happy to start Sanchez as well in games. For me, Newcastle, Trippier, good option. Trippier goal. Newcastle's defense in general, there is value there when their fixtures are good. Attacking wise, Callum Wilson, if he stays fit, like we all know, is a good option going forward. Apart from that, I'm not really convinced on anyone else. But thoughts, Brighton, Newcastle? Nothing to talk about.
Don't have any of them in my team. So it's hard to comment just yet because of their fixtures as well. I don't. I might just end up a draw that game, to be honest. I don't know. I can't comment too much on that.
Yeah, I mean, I started Trippier, and I have Trippier in my team. He basically got a clean sheet, which is good for me. I did watch the Newcastle highlights from Game Week 1, and they look good attack-wise as well. Joel Linton had some good attacking runs. Willock had a shot which he could almost scored. Callum Wilson obviously still primary striker, so they're off to a good start. And as we said, even from last season as well, Newcastle is a team on the rise. With new owners and new signings. Pope is a legitimate goalkeeper finally, which is going to be good. He was solid at Burnley, and now he's got an improved defense. So I would expect way more clean sheets, and not just clean sheets, much better defensively, a much better defensive unit for Newcastle with Trippier back. So yeah, I think Newcastle assets are definitely worth watching. They're not really priced. Saint Maximum is still 6.5 midfield, playing as a winger. If he gets on a heater, he could be a player to watch out for. Callum Wilson could be another option if the existing strikers somehow fall out. But I've got Newcastle and starting Trippier again this week, which should be fair enough. I'm expecting them to play much better than United played last week.
That's true. Moving on, Man City versus Bournemouth. Now, this is where I got a couple slides. So sneak peek into some of the other fixtures as well. Okay, now this is Man City's average touch map from the last game. Something interesting that you'll note. Now, this is something I said last week as well, that City need to get the ball to Haaland as fast as possible if they want to get goals for him. And what Pep kind of changed is number 7 and number 2 are the two fullbacks. 7 in Cancelo, 2 in Kyle Walker. Both of them way more centrally compared to what you would expect from before, where they would have been more outwards. Especially Cancelo, he might have been more wider. But now both of them are way more central. The number 10 in Jack Grealish, and I think number 47 was Phil Foden. So they are the ones now providing the width and a bit more of like the crosses into Haaland immediately as well. Whereas the fullbacks are now more inverted, and you kind of see like this box shape between the defense with Rodri right here. Haaland over here. 17 is, I think, KDB. And over here was Gundogan, and then Bernardo Silva came in. So he's played it a bit more narrow in terms of the fullbacks and keeping the wingers more wide to hold the width and also to supply the crosses in pretty fast as well. That's something I kind of noticed. And that kind of shows in the game as well. So this is Kyle Walker right in the middle of the pitch, along with Cancelo, Rodri. That's what you're seeing here. You see Foden out here, Gundogan here, KDB and Haaland next to, I think that's KDB. Sorry, 720p. That could be Grealish as well. But Haaland right there. So fullbacks are now playing a bit more narrow. Chances are, I saw Cancelo in a couple moments where he was a bit more further forward. So maybe he has a bit more chances of scoring shots as well. So maybe it brings the fullbacks as a better option maybe at times. Especially Walker also now maybe a decent option, because now we don't expect him to score or like cross too much because he couldn't cross. But now if he's playing more centrally and just has to play passes, maybe he might be a better option. That's what I'm thinking. Same thing was on this slide as well. Kyle Walker over here, Phil Foden wide. This is Gundogan. That is KDB, who tends to move around as usual. You got Haaland in the box. Cancelo. So this was Cancelo, give and take. He's gone into the box. He's given it to Gundogan and Grealish as well, slightly on the edge of the box. So fullbacks in right now, at least based off the last game, more centrally for City, and that's what we're kind of seeing. Added to that, this was Bournemouth's shots conceded in the last game, and all of that came centrally as well, which is why I'm thinking Haaland could be a good option because of the way Bournemouth are actually conceding their shots. Having said all of that, over to you guys.
It's just scary to see the positioning of their defense.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw this similar with I think it was Liverpool in the Community Shield. Liverpool's when fullbacks were high up playing. I mean, that's why I ended up going Robertson over Diaz, just to see how advanced Robertson was. comparison to Diaz. So it's ominous for opposition to see this and the positions that they're taking up. But certainly, I mean, obviously, all that does put in for a good Haaland pick, and I would wish I had him, but I don't think I will. So that is where I am.
You just missed out on the price rise.
And it's not even that. It's just also just to I know it might just be foolish right now, but it is just I just have to get through the first couple of games with Kane and just not react too much to it. I know it could punish me, but I mean,
Kane is still a good player. We'll talk about him as well.
Enough of Kane. Kane, he's for me, I mean, where I justified him in the end was he's a proven FPL beast, and he had a great preseason. And I mean, it's hard to say no to Haaland, but I just went with what I knew, and that's what I was going for. He blanked a game week 1, and the easy thing was to just get over Haaland, which seems everyone did. Like almost 1 million people transferred him in already, and his price has gone up, but. And I'm going to stick to Kane. That's how I go. Hopefully that's the luck I get. And Haaland blanks.
We'll see.
Wishful thinking of it. It's very ballsy. I mean, if you go back to the photo round where with the City and stuff, interesting. I guess the second one, he pretty much Cancelo is the number 7. And he's of a strike. That's insane as your fullback that you're that forward. Kind of tells, the role that he's playing, and probably even more significant now with him 7.
That's what I was a bit worried about, now that he's more central.
Correct. And we had a bit of concerns prior to, the game week 1 where City was still looking at transfers and they were looking at Barella and other options in fullbacks, which is why we kind of, had a bit of concern, not over Cancelo's playing time, but how we did that combination. It might be Cancelo, Walker, maybe Cancelo on the right and Cucurella on the left. But the fact that they haven't signed any fullbacks kind of actually increases Walker's appeal now again.
Yes, exactly.
5 million. So I mean, look, apart from that, Grealish they're gonna give Grealish a good try. Hart is hungry for goals. All his presses and all the memes and all his tweets. He's kind of showing that he's a player ready to attack the Premier League. If I were you, I'd be very, very nervous going into the Bournemouth game.
Abhi needs a sofa to hide behind for that game.
Probably.
Well, tell me that you guys are going to captain him over Salah.
I am going to captain him over Salah.
Okay. Well, I hope you get burnt.
Oh no!
You guys need to remember your first allegiance is Manchester United.
We can't be emotional now. We can't be emotional now. All right. This is not Arsenal podcast. I mean, look, City's off to a great start. They got the good fixtures to back it up. They've lost a few key players, but they've gotten probably more attacking players in a different. They're just changing their mindset. The target's definitely going to be through Haaland. Haaland is on pens as well, which is another interesting thing where we didn't know before game week 1 who's going to be on penalties. Now, I don't know if that's because the fact that he got the foul and he took it.
But Mahrez wasn't on the pitch.
True. But because Haaland is so.
If Mahrez is not on the pitch, I think he's taking penalties. For sure. He'll want the goals.
What happens if Mahrez is on the pitch?
That I don't know. Because according to Mahrez hasn't been he hasn't lost penalties yet, according to him, when he was asked about it. And according to Pep Guardiola, he was like, well, whoever's taking the ball, and if they can score, I'm happy. So he hasn't really commented on it as well. So
I mean, interesting. I saw that comment he made about Haaland taking the penalty after a thing as well. And he said, well, if he would have punched someone in the face, anyone else tried to take the penalty away from him.
Fair enough.
Which is interesting, right? So is that just because, I mean, obviously he's defensive about his own penalty.
Yeah.
But if he's that good a penalty taker, why not?
Exactly. True.
So, and there's a higher chance Haaland will be on the pitch more than Mahrez, especially if Foden's still playing and, they're going to play Grealish on the left. So So we're really banking on Mahrez playing and then him taking the penalties if he's on.
Yeah.
Which, it's
true.
The penalty factor all just points towards us having Haaland.
Yes. The only thing is, for now, Haaland's a good option.
I'll have you see on Fantasy Football Scout, how they put there, you're all forgetting Salah lovers playing Crystal Palace.
I know, we'll get to that.
And last couple of points, 12, 16, 11, 15.
Yep.
So I'll just put it there.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm probably going to captain Salah. Actually.
Don't forget who is the FPL beast.
Fair enough. I think there's a genuine like you can probably captain Salah even if you don't have Haaland. It's actually a pretty good option. But I think both are pretty good options. The only thing is, I eventually think Salah will still be the better FPL asset because Haaland will get rotated when it comes to Champions League, and that's kind of one of the selling points that City had to him. They were like, we will manage your minutes because he was worried about getting injured. So for now, I think he's a pretty good option. But we'll see what he does against Bournemouth, whether he'll be able to take advantage. For me, let's see. I don't know. I'm captaining him, but we'll have to see how he does. Okay, moving on. To Southampton versus Leeds. Skip. Okay.
I'm joking.
Look, Leeds. I'm watching a few of those Leeds guys there. I think they've got some good performers, and it's good to see Bamford back. I think I was seeing stuff of how Jack Harrison had pretty good numbers over the weekend. I know it's early days and fixtures and all that kind of stuff. He had good numbers on chances created and Bamford in the squad. And then it's also good to see the new guy, Aronson, playing. I think, we have to look out for these kind of plays because these are the Rafinhas and all these other kinds of people that we liked in years gone by. So right now, as we stick to template teams, we need to keep looking out for these guys.
He looked really bright as well, and at the price tag, he could be like someone we go to.
Correct.
If Leon Bailey doesn't perform next week or something, that could be another move that people could be making. Bamford also looked pretty good. I should add that as well. And if he can stay fit, I mean, if we can get the same Bamford we had 2 seasons ago, from FPL perspective, could be a good return of points. Southampton, I don't know. I tipped Southampton to be part of a relegation crew, so I'm not really convinced about Southampton yet.
Yeah.
The thing with Bamford is he's priced awkwardly, like a really weird price tag. 7.5, right? Or 7?
Mid-priced, like Callum Wilson, Tony, all of them. Yeah.
That's a weird price range where, again, we talked about why Tony is not going to be in a team for the time being. Because there's much better options in strikers. So unless Leeds start proving me wrong, and some of our Jesus come down, I actually don't think right now, if you were to swap out Jesus for Bamford, it's not probably the most idealistic option. There's a lot more better options right now.
Yep.
With Nunes, and even probably Wilson is probably more convincing than Bamford at the moment.
Fair enough.
Definitely, the fixtures there, at least for the short term. So yeah,
they seemed a bit more attacking than I thought they would be, Leeds. But that exposed their defense as well slightly. So maybe we'll see. Maybe because it's the early weeks and compared to last season where Jesse Marsh had to basically defend to try and keep them in the Prem. Maybe this season they might be a bit more attacking. But at the moment, like I said, I think Anason, I don't know how I pronounce it. Aronson. He is probably at the moment the most interesting option for me, just because of the price tag. But yeah, I'm just gonna go quickly back to the City game because there was a question from Ear who's mentioned, I have only Cancelo from City. Would you roll free transfer and captain Cancelo, or do Son to KDB and captain KDB, or get Haaland for -4 and captain him? Doesn't have Salah.
Wow, you must have a lot of money if you don't have Salah.
If you don't have Salah, then I think you probably want to try and get Haaland in. If you have Salah, I think you can captain Salah.
You have a hell of a midfield with that.
That's also true. I might want to know what your midfield is, assuming as well. But I don't know. If you don't have Salah,
I'm assuming he's got Son and Kane, right? If he doesn't have Salah,
then I would drop Kane and someone else. I would probably still keep Son.
Yeah, I would be more inclined to keep Son and not drop Or I'd rather you have a straight swap for Kane.
Yeah.
Not straight swap anymore, but he's a -4.
Yeah.
I guess that's his question as well. Does he roll as free transfer, or does he bring in Haaland for this game week?
Because he doesn't have Salah, I might bring in Haaland because of that specific reason.
Yeah, but the problem is because he's only got one free transfer.
Yeah.
He's probably wondering whether it's worth
the -4. Probably not, because then you need Haaland to score 2 goals to justify it.
Or he could do a Son to KDB in midfield because they're a similar price.
But I don't think KDB. See, that's a good point. But I think Son is a better FPL option than KDB. That's the one thing. Yeah. Will be very team dependent, and I don't know if the -4 is the slightly hard one to justify. That's the only problem.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's the problem as well. He's probably struggling with captaincy options right now. I mean, look, Cancelo could be a good captaincy option as a differential because I don't see. I mean, look, as we just talked about City stats as well. He could be a decent captaincy option if you don't have Haaland or Salah. As Ryan said, probably not swapping out Son.
Yeah, so his midfield is like Son, Sterling, Diaz, Martinelli. That's his midfield. So that's where the money is. It's a tough one.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think you'll have to see who you're taking out. Even if you're taking a -4, it'll depend on who you're bringing in. That also, yeah. Wolves, Fulham. Neto didn't really do well, but Podence did well. But Neto was pretty more attacking. Fulham perspective, shocked Liverpool, very high energy. Mitrovic doing really well, 2 goals. Andreas Pereira for 4.5 looked pretty good, playing in that number 10 role as well. Thoughts on this game?
I don't know if I'll watch it live. But yeah, good to see Fulham's performance against Liverpool. Mitrovic has always been one of those strikers. Yo-yos in the team as Fulham comes in and out of the league. So it's good to see. There's somebody's already scored. Yeah, what 2 goals now? That's one short of the whole season when he was in the league 2 years ago. But yeah, it's promising to see. I think most people have Pereira in their team as a backup midfielder, so it's good to see. You can call on him if need be, but I don't have any Wolves options right now, especially with Jimenez not there as well.
Yeah, I mean, not much to talk about for this game. Everyone's got the Neto or Pereira as your backups, and they both seem decent. If you've got the fixtures and you need to start them. Pereira looked really good. Fulham just were pressing so hard on Liverpool, and they had no chance. Like me with my double Liverpool defense was crying after the first. I don't know whenever they scored the first goal. Pereira's looking good in terms as he's on set pieces as well. His creative potential probably has a bit of work to be done. Like his passing and stuff isn't the most clinical. He looks good on the ball. Like he's quick. He's really fast. So on those fast breaks, he looks like he's going to create some opportunities. At 4.5, you cannot go wrong with Pereira at the moment. Wolves would be again just wait and watch with Neto. If Wolves I feel like if Wolves don't perform consistently for the next few weeks when they've got the new good fixtures. I don't know if Neto's going to be in people's team. We might have to look elsewhere, maybe an Aronson or someone else in that price range.
They were attacking. So last game week, Wolves were the second highest minutes per XG. City being top and then Wolves second in the last game. So they are attacking. It's just that we'll have to see how they do. I think Fulham is a good team as well. They looked pretty good against Liverpool. Can they follow it up against Wolves as well? We'll have to see. But Andres Pereira at 4.5, I think good option. And I won't be... I mean, for those looking to start him as well, I think it could work out maybe. Okay. Brentford versus United. How much are Brentford going to score?
Come on.
Jokes. I think United... Okay. Brentford versus United.
What is going on with the United? Who have we signed?
Let's talk about United first. Okay, in terms of Arnautovic, he's thankfully not coming. Thank God. Rabiot, I hope we don't sign him because his stats are just god awful.
It sounds like his mother is quite strict on the negotiation.
Exactly. So I just hope we don't sign him because all I've
I
heard of him
think
is
Rush likes Rabiot, so I think he wants him.
you're just adding words to Rush now.
No, or was that Karan? I can't remember.
That's current.
That's Karan.
But I hope that Rabiot. I don't know. I'm not convinced on Rabiot. I think it's a very bad signing from my perspective, and he hasn't played CDM. He's more of a centre mid. So he's more of a number 8 compared to a number 6.
The fact that Juventus are desperate to sell him, then it shows you shouldn't be buying.
Exactly. You should probably just avoid.
Correct.
But talking about players we currently have, I
think we had to talk about United. I'd just rather
just skip.
It's so depressing talking about United. Like we all know what the problems are.
Yeah.
Like it's frustrates me. This season's been so bad, and they just
started.
Well, we get new managers, and they just don't seem to be making a fundamental, decision in giving the armband to potentially the worst player in the Premier League, in Harry Maguire.
And I just don't get that. I mean, all the commentary before this was what a principal he is in these kind of things, and he's not scared to make the harsh decisions. Why is his first decision to make him captain? How is he in your starting 11? Why are we still using the same formation that we've always been using? Why is Fred McTominay still there? If Donny was your guy once upon a time, why aren't you giving him a chance? Change things up. This template team didn't work before. It's not going to work again.
Yeah.
They definitely change things up. They bench the guy who they're paying $500K a week for, and bring him off the bench. Let's have issues. It's just I don't know what's happening in the organization.
I just saw a headline right now. Ex-United director confirms a hostile takeover plan is underway.
I don't know if that'll happen. Yeah, I just saw that, but it's just like everyone just comes up with this takeover. It never happens. But yeah, I don't know, bro. I'm hoping for a better performance against Brentford.
Yeah, I think there will be scapegoats from the first game.
Yeah.
I think that's where Ten Hag will make a difference. He will.
We'll see.
We've seen how he's in training and stuff, so he will ripcord people soon. If performance on that, if we can't get results against Brentford, even Ericsson is going to be like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Yeah.
It's
just change locker rooms, go to other locker room.
Yes. Anyway, we hope for the best for that. I don't have players from either.
No, I removed just before the deadline. And like if we don't see a difference in the Brentford game, I think Salah is a really good captaincy option again, like last season against United.
For sure.
But we'll have to see. In terms of if you have any players, I think if you have Rashford, you can keep. He had chances to score. Maybe this game you can kind of see and decide after that. I don't think you need to be trigger happy right now. If you have the players, just keep them for now. But yeah, at the moment I'm not convinced by any of them. In terms of Brentford, Ivan Toney maybe could be an option because Brentford's fixtures do improve after this game. So maybe that could be an option for anyone looking. But yeah, that's basically from Brentford as well.
I guess just one more question, and I didn't really dwell upon this too much. I've got in Sanchez. Is Real still locking number 1? And
at the moment, by the looks of it.
Okay, there's no risk of rotation.
No. In general, goalkeeper, I think I prefer Sanchez at that 4.5 right now.
Yep.
Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. Anything?
Are you going on Lingard's bandwagon, right?
No. Not at the moment. I think Forest need to improve. It's like a lot of players they bought and they try to gel everyone. It'll take time. West Ham, I think they didn't do well in preseason in terms of scoring goals. And they kind of didn't show that as well in the City game. So, City, it's tough fixture, but we'll have to see. Bowen, Antonio, the new forward, they got Skamaka. I think they'll need a bit more time.
Who's West Ham? I think, did they just sign someone just today?
Let me check.
Kone, yeah?
Kone. Maxwell Kone for 6 million FPL. But yeah, for me, I think this game is just like you just wait and watch and no FPL perspective from here.
I think West Ham will win this game, just because they obviously coming off a tough City fixture, and they have the team in Bowen, and we talked about how Bowen and stuff will have a good this time around. So I expect West Ham to definitely score. Forest again is a team to, as you said, they just brand new team from, just from brand new to the Premier League, a lot of new players. They're not to the level where I think Fulham is at already, which is interesting because Fulham's also got a lot of new players as well, but the core is still probably similar season. So
I think Forest will take some time to like gel their players and everything. But yeah, from a FPL perspective, I think there's nothing from both of the games. I think you can wait for now.
Yeah.
Okay. London derby, Chelsea versus Spurs. Big game, biggest game of the weekend. My first initial thoughts from this game is that both sides might not keep a clean sheet, and both sides there'll be quite a few goals, I think, and I think Spurs might.
Where do you think Chelsea's goals are coming from?
I think they might. I don't even think it might be goals. I just think it might be goal. That's it. I have a high.
I rate Spurs this year a lot, and that's mostly the Conte factor. He's just brilliant. It's just he gets unbelievable results with these kind of players, and you can see his stamp on this team. Like the formations that he has, and I wish we had more certainty on who his wing backs were, because they are great budget options and they give you huge explosive results if it comes through. Perisic, Doherty, Sessegnon, whoever there is, there's so many on the list. So obviously Son and Kane are your premium picks, but I'm so disappointed I didn't pick Kulusevski in Game Week 1. He was on my team and I changed him to Grealish and made other changes to that because I just felt I wanted Son for some thing, but I just wanted a Spurs midfield. It didn't happen, but I think I saw somewhere Kulusevski's got one, and since he's came into the league, he's got one of the highest, I think the most assists.
Yeah, so on Match of the Day, they showed that since Kulusevski's been in the league, only Son and Kane have got more goals and goal returns over him. So he's basically the third highest I think goals and assist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So anyway, rest in peace.
I think Chelsea are going to struggle to score in this game. They looked like Chelsea considered like couple shots against Everton as well, right? If Everton had a striker, they maybe that scoreline would have been slightly different. But Spurs, I think, could get returns against Chelsea. I think that.
Yeah, I think they will get returns. Yeah. I just don't have confidence in which Chelsea player is going to get you there.
Yeah, that's what I'm not really sure.
It might be Jorginho,
a penalty again.
By a penalty.
Yeah.
Because Mount didn't look quite lackluster in the game as well. And I also had him in my initial draft somewhere, like I got rid of him, but I thought he would be shining, but he had a disappointing game as well. So unless there's a wing back or I don't know who else, it's hard.
I don't know where it's going to come from, but yeah. Rush more.
I still think. Chelsea hasn't I'm not still writing off the wingbacks.
No, I also have James, so I think it's a very good option.
I think Koulibaly is meant to be an upgrade to Rudiger.
Yeah.
He looked good, defending better. Chelsea's spine hasn't changed significantly. They're still playing that back three. Works for them. In terms of attack, yes, I agree. There's no direct, one person where you can expect to get consistent points weekly. It's not just how their attack is formed with Mount, Sterling, Havertz all playing front three role. You just don't know who's going to score which week, and that's fine. I don't think they're really priced at a point that warrants attention from the Chelsea or attack. But I think Chilwell and James, at the moment, looking good. Cucurella played left centre back. He's not stealing Chilwell's position, which is interesting. So that still gives the appeal for the wing backs, go forward. So James gave me a clean sheet in game 1.
Yeah, same.
I'll start him against Spurs, but
I'm not expecting a clean sheet in game week 2 though. No. I'll also start him, but I'm not expecting a clean sheet. Maybe an assist, you never know. Sure. And he still managed to get bonus points as well without any attacking returns. Yeah. So in terms of a bonus point magnet, James is pretty good. maybe Cucurella in the future could be a good option at 5 million if he's playing that left centre back role, potentially maybe at times a wing back if he needs to give Chilwell a rest. Could be a pretty good option, just like Walker. So yeah, that's all I have to say at the moment.
Did you see Chelsea's bid 70 million for Finer?
Yes, I've seen that. I don't know how Leicester managed to sell defenders for such high prices and still they can't keep clean sheets.
Maguire for Finer. Who else?
I would not go and buy from Leicester. They're just going to get ripped off.
But $70 million for him, pounds for him. And they said no.
Yeah, so I have no idea how that's
think look, Chelsea's literally missing that one more centre back, right?
Yeah, that's what they're after.
That replacement for Thiago Silva and potentially as if Fofana's 21, right? He's a pretty young kid.
I think so, yeah.
He'll be good in the long run.
We'll have to see. But for now, in this game, I think Spurs are getting goals. So if you have Son, don't drop him. I think he's pretty good. I was looking at stats-wise. Where was it? In terms of
there's something good about Kane, Ryan, for all the Kane
unfortunately, Kane didn't have much good to say about him. He had only 2 chances created, 2 shots on target. Son had 4 chances created, which was the second highest just after Maddison. In terms of Maddison had 5 chances created. XG-wise, I don't know. Kane didn't have the best of games, but Kane, I think, is still a pretty good option. For Spurs, and I mean, if you said Spurs were scoring 4 goals and Kane, and you didn't know who the scorers were, you would have hoped that Kane was on the end of at least one of them. So I think it was just pure unlucky that he didn't get anything from that game. But I mean, he could get something from this game. I'm not putting it past him. And if you still have him, Game Week 3, pretty good captaincy option as well. Maybe a Spurs player. You never know. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Anything else to add on this game? No?
I think, I've been in, and even, was it Era on the chat? Oh, yes, this game might be tough for your Spurs, but you probably start reaping the benefits from next game.
Yeah, exactly. They have good fixtures coming up soon as well. Yeah. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace, the final game. Now, Salah got the points returned. I think he's a pretty good captaincy option as well, along with Haaland this week. But someone who stole the show, and Rushant was very confident on him as well in preseason, and I think it's our fault that we knocked him out of it. Darwin Núñez did come on and did make an impact. And like I've said before, the guy gets a lot of chances. Does this make him the 3rd best Liverpool asset over Robertson and Luis Diaz?
I've been go first.
That's for Rush. I don't have not in my consideration yet. I can see his numbers, but it's just hard to get past Trent and Salah for sure, and then Robinson, giving him enough time to look. I mean, I can't remember from what game week it was from last season, but he outscored Trent, and you don't get rid of Trent anyway in your team. So let's see how this game week goes. I think that Fulham game was an anomaly for Liverpool. They'll get back to their ways, and just not confident of Núñez and if and when he does start. And I'm sure he will, and he'll reap the rewards. But the points on offer on their defense, it's mammoth.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I'm really high on Núñez, and I have been for the last 4 weeks or so. I think I went into Game Week 1 trying to think with my head or my heart.
Yeah.
I kind of dropped him for Robertson.
I mean, the logic makes sense because he didn't start as well, so it does make
sense.
Yeah,
correct. But I'll be very, very surprised if he keeps putting up the performances he's putting up, even off the bench.
Yeah.
Why he won't start?
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if he doesn't start over Firmino.
I think he'll start this game because it's at home. I'm not sure on the United game. Because maybe Klopp might want someone who presses a bit more, does a bit more defensive work, which Firmino does.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like obviously with Jota being injured as well, they decided to go with similar team with where only person swapping is the Mane to DM with their usual front 3, Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho, and in the back four. Very consistent. There's no big significant changes to the season that, the team that did really, really well last season around. Yes, I guess the game Fulham played really well and put a lot of pressure where kind of made like Trent look like he was not as good as he actually is. He's much better than he actually played in game week 1. So I expect Liverpool to definitely bounce back. In the meantime, I also expect Palace to bounce back as well, because Palace is also looking like a good team under a good manager who can bring the team together. I don't think this game will be as easy as it looks for Liverpool. I know that Arsenal kind of rolled them through in week 1, but I do expect Palace to put up a better fight as well. Interesting. This game I think Liverpool still has the edge, but I don't think it'll be as high scoring as it seems. I think it might be like a 2-1 or something along that line.
This brings me to the question that Abdul Rahman had in the chat. He was like, he already has Salah and TA, and he's asking whether he should start Robertson or Andres Pereira. I think you start Robertson, probably. Yeah. I
think you're paying $7 million for a defender not to keep him on the bench. So I wouldn't be afraid of not starting. If you happen to have your 3 Liverpools, I still wouldn't bench them. I'm still going at it. Because Robertson did have a lot of effect on the game, and he should have had a lot of returns for the way he played. The first half was pretty much all Robertson. Diaz should have scored as well. He had a couple of sitters which he missed, a couple of it hit the frame. But I guess coming back to your original question about Núñez and what the Liverpool, I started with the double defense and with Salah obviously, but looking at Salah and some of the positions he played, he was very close to where Núñez was. Yes. Which traditionally Mane would occupy one side and Salah would occupy one flank. There's a lot of isolation, but I think there's a lot of focus on Salah, which kind of attracted him to move. Second half, he saw Salah way out of position. He was playing in his favorite spot at right wing. He was in the middle. It sort of came like to the midfield as well because he wasn't getting the ball at all. Núñez is one player where if I see that he's going to start playing a lot more minutes, and especially if Firmino starts fading out, it's going to be a no-brainer.
Fair enough. I was speaking with Karan, and he wants to. At the moment, he was even thinking of dropping Salah. I was like, no, not a good idea. But I got some pitches just like for the City game. So this is just before the first goal where Núñez tried and it hit the goalkeeper. So you can see Salah out wide, Núñez right in the middle. Interestingly, just behind Núñez is Luis Diaz. On the wing is Robertson, and the other two in the central forward is Harvey Elliott, and I think it was Jordan Henderson, with Trent on your further back towards the right. Now, I think when Núñez and Diaz are on the pitch, they're going to occupy the same space quite a lot because Diaz is someone who likes to cut in a lot, and I'm not sure how this is going to work with Núñez and whether they're going to be in each other's space quite too much, because we've seen Salah, he's capable of drifting wide and also coming in center whenever he needs. So I'm not too worried about Salah. I think he'll still get points. But this is something I kind of noticed interestingly. Another pick, same thing. This is where they get the goal. Again, Salah out wide, Diaz a bit more wide. This is your more traditional 4-3-3, what you would expect. I think this is Milner right behind, Harvey Elliott and James Henderson. Jordan
Henderson.
Oh, Jordan Henderson, sorry. And this one was... What was this? Was this the second goal? I'm not remember. I don't remember. So Salah was here. Milner... Oh, yes. This one I took because I wanted to show Trent's positioning. So compared to Robertson, Trent is more of an inverted type fullback in Liverpool system. He tends to... Like, even the goal in the Community Shield, he was more in... So I've seen him taking those positions where if he does pass the ball to Salah, who's out wide, Trent tends to go inwards when needed and doesn't really overlap. Meanwhile, Robertson, on the other hand, tends to hold that width from Liverpool's left. That's something I thought that was interesting. I thought, okay, Trent is still pretty good option and probably the second best Liverpool option, at least for me, behind Salah. Núñez as well, just still holding the striker role. Interestingly, what you see on the edge of the box is Luis Diaz coming in. So he tends to like cut in and appear as well. Another spot. Okay, now this is where you kind of said the second goal. This is where the second goal came from. Where Liverpool are chasing the game. You see Nunes and Salah playing like almost like a two-striker situation with Trent putting the ball in the middle, Carvalho right behind. That is something like you mentioned, right? Salah moves wherever he wants to, if he tries to get involved. So he can move to the striker role. He can move out wide. So it wasn't really that. Even though on the goal they were right next to each other, like both were on top of each other almost. They were almost playing like Salah had drifted more centrally. Nunes still holds his position as like a striker, and sometimes he does like they do split a bit more wide. But Salah has that option to like drift in, stay out wide, depending on how he feels. Which for me, I still think is a pretty good option. Because I saw a couple like talks about when Nunes is on the pitch, Salah is a bit more wider. And does that reduce Salah's appeal? I don't think so. Because it's kind of showing that Salah can move wherever he wants to. That's just my thoughts. I don't think I have another picture. I do. Oh, yeah. Average touch map. 27 is Nunes. 23 is Diaz, if I'm not mistaken. 11 is Salah. Trent being the most further forward in terms of the wingbacks. Out of the two, 66. And Robertson is 26. Firmino, number 9. Way at the half lane. So average touch map for Firmino is very deep, which is why I'm thinking the upcoming game against Palace, maybe Nunes could start if they want a bit more attacking presence. United game, if he wants a bit more defensive presence, then you could probably see Firmino. And then Crystal Palace's average, this is Crystal Palace's shots conceded from the last game. Most of it coming down towards that right-hand side where Salah will operate in this game. So could make Salah a pretty good captaincy option as well, if needed. That's my say. Done.
Yeah, it's good.
That's pretty good. I think
good luck.
Salah is Salah, right? Salah is Salah. That's what everyone's got to remember. He's a gun. There's a lot of questions over, should I start Nunes and Diaz over Salah, but dropping Salah? And a lot of people are going to that. But the guy scored game week 1. He's still scoring. It'll be a big shot to drop Salah to bring in Nunes and Diaz. So yes, I'm a big advocate of Nunes right now, but not at the expense of dropping Salah.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And as you said, there's a lot of risk of rotations. There's no guarantee with minutes with Nunes at the moment, but Salah, Trent, and Robertson,
you have guarantee.
It has a guarantee, which is people, which is why I went with them.
Yeah.
Week 1. Diaz and Nunes had glimpses and could definitely be scoring points and goals, but you can't have 5 Liverpool, can you?
No, you can't. Fair enough.
Choose 3 and stick with it. So, yeah, end of the day, it comes down to your team structure, how you want to play it. Do you want to take a bit more risks and do you have that reward, or are you happy just having that safety net? Really depends how you play.
Yeah.
At the moment, there's nothing wrong with playing anyone. So apart from Salah, any one of those 4 others in any combination, preferably one of them as a defender is what I'd recommend.
Fair enough. We also have to keep note that once Jota comes into the mix as well, that makes further rotation risk for Nunes, Diaz of the likes, where Salah is still the main talisman, will continue to play.
Yep.
Cool. That is it. Those are the games. And that was the City one. This is something that Abin said we should introduce, which I've kind of done. It's a watch list for like the next 4 game weeks. Some players that could do well. I've kind of removed all the United players from this list. I have added the likes of Mitrovic, Bamford as well. I added to this list. Aronson. I added him as well, and Kuleveski as well. I added. Did put Walker and Cucurella as well, and Saliba, because I thought they'll be pretty good options going forward. But apart from that, everything else kind of remains the same. Thoughts? Anyone we're missing from this? No? Yes?
No, pretty comprehensive, yeah.
So yeah, I think these players could do well over the next couple of game weeks. That's all, basically.
Yeah.
Tiny watch list, which will adjust accordingly every game week.
Look at this. What's puzzling me is so many attacking options, right? So many, like 8 attackers there. Wow.
Yes. That's the thing.
I think that's where the differential is going to happen this season.
That's the thing. Is this year that we are back to the attackers?
forwards,
Last year it was the fail.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that in defense, it's kind of set. There's like obvious choices in defense.
Yeah.
Probably even in midfield, if you've got Salah, there's not that much you can do. Attack is where you can kind of mix it up.
Yep. Yeah.
If Haaland is a lock as well, then you've got the template going and you're looking at second striker. And
I think that's where your differentials are going to come from.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to scale big time if you don't have the right players at the right time.
We'll be talking about the likes of Mitrovic and all entering our teams as well very soon, once their fixtures get a bit more easier. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. That's basically the watch list. Let me know in the comments what you guys think as well, and if we missed any players. Finally, teams. Abin, 63 points. Cancelo, Ramsdale, Robertson, Trent, Reece James. Big at the back, followed with Leon Bay, Salah captain, Martinelli, Grealish, midfield, Kane and Jesus up front.
No changes.
No changes. He's rolling in. He's going with Salah captain. I think it's a pretty good option. Not a bad choice.
I'm literally not looking at anything, and that's how I'm going. It just makes sense for me. It's like I know it's everyone will be like, it's Haaland, but it's too late. Decision done in game week 1, and then I'll save it for game week 3, and that's where damage control or not will happen.
Fair enough.
2-3 transfers for me. I'm hoping Grealish has a good game, or at least starts. I hope. I just wanted a midfield presence of City, and I picked him. So I hope that he does give me some results soon.
Yep, fair enough. I would probably put Andreas as your first sub just in case.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, I think your team looks good. You have some level of City cover at least, just in case. And hopefully Kane can be a differential. You never know.
Yeah.
So that's Abin's team. Rushant, 73 points. Big at the back. Extremely big at the back. But Ward in goal, which I think would change to Sanchez maybe. James, Trent, Cancelo, Robertson, Trippier, Martinelli, Salah, Bay, Jesus, and Haaland. That midfield and forward has been template for a lot of teams I've seen. But the big at the back, the difference. Any changes? Or
well, no, I don't think I'll probably roll my transfer this week. Probably start different players. That's what I'll be doing. Starting Sanchez. I still have to make a decision between James or Bailey, which is something I need to consider closer to deadline week.
Why do you need James? I don't know, James or Bailey?
I think he's bringing Neto in.
I'm bringing Neto in.
Oh, you're bringing Neto in. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it'll just be a matter of, do I want to start James versus versus Spurs, or Bailey versus Everton as my choice. But yeah, I'm perfectly happy. I still haven't decided who I want to captain. I'm leaning towards Salah, and I'm not writing off Haaland just yet. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, not too upset. Could I have done anything differently for game week 1? Yes. I could have done Ramsdale in starting, which I was considering. And then I could have also started Zinchenko instead of Trippier, but would have been the similar sort of
the team looks pretty good anyways.
Yeah.
So rolling transfer kind of makes sense. And then
the transfer man, trying to get some.
Yeah, 2 transfers. I think next game week, a lot of managers will go in with 2 transfers, and that's where we'll see kind of changes being made.
Yep.
Possibility of a lot of Bay is being transferred out. If Jesus doesn't perform, there's a possibility that he also tends to be transferred out. So yeah, there'll be quite a lot of activity next week. And then that's mine. Very similar to, not very similar. Midfield and forward lines are almost similar, but still the premium remains. With White, Trent, Ake, James, and Sanchez will come in instead of Ward. Leon Bay, Martinelli, Heung-min Son, got my Spurs cover. Salah, Jesus, and Haaland. I would also probably...
I can't believe you have no Cancelo.
No Cancelo. And after I saw those, I was doing those pictures and the analysis and the average position map, I was like, oh, I'm going to be careful. I have to be very careful because Cancelo could damage me. But Ake is doing the job so far. I'm happy with that. I can't complain. And he enables me to get Heung-min Son as well. So I think that's the advantage I'm banking on. So we'll see how it does. We'll see how it happens.
How come you went Ake over Walker? Curious.
because of the initial, like we were discussing whether if they wanted to play the ball to Haaland faster, I was assuming that you could potentially play Ake at left back, Cancelo at right back, and then you get your wing backs to like cross the ball faster. But Pep has kind of switched it and played the wing backs more central and the wingers wider. So yeah, that's the one reason I went Ake over Walker. And also Ake set piece threat compared to Walker, not expecting much. So
Didn't Chelsea want to buy him as well?
who? Ake. Yeah, that was at the point, but I don't think that's happening now. But yeah, that's my team. And finally, I think we have the community team as well, which didn't do too bad. Let me bring it up.
Does it still have Nunes or did we drop Nunes?
No, it still has Nunes. There we go.
Yes.
It got 63 points.
So
Ward at goal. Gabriel, James, Trippier, Cash, Rashford, interestingly, Sterling, Foden, Son captaincy, which maybe we should have put on Haaland, and Darwin and Haaland up front. So that's the team. Looking at it for this week, I think we bring in Sanchez. Apart from that, and probably Captain Haaland.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I don't mind the rest of the team, to be
we
honest.
can roll the transfer.
Leave the rest.
Yeah.
I think what we should do is roll the transfer, and if Sterling does nothing, he's not going to do anything anyway. But
Yeah.
we will keep Sterling right as a differential. Is that what we just?
Yeah. That's why this team is generally a bit more of a risky team compared to our normal teams. So
Yeah.
not too bad. 63, I think, is a pretty good start. So we'll see how this team does. Roll the transfer, Captain Haaland, and we'll see what happens. That's basically it for the panel team. And final thing just before we end is prices. Darwin Nunes maybe with a price rise. Haaland as well looks like he's going to get a second price rise by the looks of it. Pascal Gross, Shah, Salah also coming up slowly. The rest all will take a couple of hours or days. In terms of price falls, Timo Werner is out. Iheanacho, Watkins, I was a bit shocked that he didn't start the Aston Villa game. So we'll see. The rest are all normal expected price falls. Nothing too big. So,
It's crazy. Haaland getting 2 rises within one game.
That's crazy. Before Game Week 2 itself. So that -4 is definitely going to have to come. I think a lot of managers are taking a -4. So even if you're not taking a -4, you potentially are on the up just from that itself. So yeah,
Wow.
that's it.
I might be in trouble.
We'll see.
Maybe I've retired from 22-23 season.
Abin is going in without Haaland. We'll see how it goes. We'll report it next week. But
Just gotta pray to all the rain gods up.
yeah,
I need to add. I don't know if you've seen the biggest trending hashtag right now is empty Old Trafford.
yes, I did notice that. But we'll see how that goes
No
as well.
fans, the Liverpool game.
Yep. We'll see. I mean, I don't mind if they postpone the Liverpool game. If the fans can just, jump into the stadium, postpone the Liverpool game so that we kind of can sort our shit out. And then hopefully, I'm all for that. But yeah.
I was hoping United would be like some back in our teams this season with all their price points, but
Sad life. I was telling my friend, like, the hope all went in one half.
yeah.
Anyways, we'll see how it goes. Alright, cool. We'll end it here. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit that like button. Chatbox podcast will be out tomorrow with Arvin. We'll be looking at our fixtures as well and how we did. But yeah, a lot of content coming. Deadline stream on Saturday and expected points predictor on Friday. The content every day. See you guys all tomorrow. Until then, peace out, everyone. Cool. Alright. Thank you all. Yeah, go have dinner.
The streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step.